Hey guys, Dr. Adam Harcourt here, and today I want to talk about migraine triggers versus causes versus stressors. And I know that sounds like kind of a lot of the same thing, but it's really important that we tease all them out. So first off, what is the cause of migraine? We've gone over this many different times, and the reality is migraine is ultimately caused from a genetic dysfunction that allows for different types of excitability in the brain. So what does that mean? It basically means that parts of the brain that are supposed to do their job, when they get overwhelmed, they don't do their job, and then you get symptoms. So the most common one is the part of the brain that inhibits head and face pain will fail, and then you get head and face pain. So there's the migraine. And that's the ultimate cause. That's what's going on. And if you don't have that genetic predisposition, you really can't get true migraine, right? And so that leads us more to what people call triggers. And so a trigger is something that no matter what is going on, you almost will always get a migraine if there's a super bright light, or if you don't get enough sleep, or if you have red wine, for example. Those are more what I call triggers. They're things that there's almost a direct correlation between the activity or event and the onset of a migraine. The more common things that we see are what I call stressors. And these are all things that increase your probability of migraine, but don't necessarily cause them every single time. And this is usually what we see with migraine. So for example, my bucket theory we talk about all the time is the idea that you have this threshold or this ability to deal with so many different stressors before you have a migraine. So maybe you eat some dairy that you're a little sensitive to, or maybe you don't get quite as much sleep as you're supposed to, and you're okay. But now that exact same thing happens, and you get some really bad news, or you have a really stressful situation, and now that bucket has enough filling it up that it overflows and it leads to a migraine. So that's more of a stressor and not necessarily a trigger. And it's super important to understand the difference, because if you have 3 or 4 or 5 different stressors all filling up that bucket, or all leading you to have migraine, and you only address 1 or 2 at a time, it may look like those therapies or that treatment isn't helpful. Even though it's awesome for you, there's just too many other things filling up the bucket or leading to that migraine. So the idea behind what we try to do is identify all the different things that can actually lead to a migraine, all the different stressors, and eliminate as many as we can or reduce them as much as possible, while at the same time finding that area of the brain that is not as healthy as it should be, and providing therapies and exercises that stimulate it and make it stronger and more healthier and more resilient to migraine. I hope this is helpful. If you have questions, please comment below, and we look forward to hearing your questions in the future.